Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to do the shortest Boeing 787 flight in the world on the KURO Boeing 787-8. We are currently standing in Bonaire and we are flying this TUI Boeing 787 over towards Curaçao, which is a great circle distance of just 40 miles. The flight is operated weekly by TUI in the real world, so we are going to do a fully realistic flight here, which is going to be about as short as it possibly gets. Follow me into the cockpit of our lovely 787. So we are using the KURO 787 version 3 for this one, and we also have the Polystorm cockpit textures for the Asobo 787 installed. That's the basis on which we are going to operate this. Let's have a very quick look now into our Navigraph charts, where we also find our SimBrief operational flight plan, to have a quick look into what we are about to do today. So we're going from Bonaire to Curaçao and having a look down into the weather conditions. Everything is fine over here at Bonaire, as you can see down here. However, looking over at Curaçao, there were some occasional gusts going through, but looks like weather has just about started improving, with all of the gusts being gone now and only a Prop 30 tempo for some showers of rain in the area, as you would absolutely expect for the Caribbean around this time of the year. Okay, so everything seems to be looking good then, and that means when we gotta make a fuel decision here, we can go with 6 tons of fuel, which is about as little as you'll probably ever get. Also note, planned optimum flight level, and looking up at the flight level where we are, it's flight level 120. Alright, so that's our plan for the day, so let's go ahead and power up our 787, and let's get this show on the road. So, hydraulics off, power is on, the landing gear lever is down, flap lever matches, speed brakes retracted, engine master's off, and we've got no weather radar. Perfect. So, quick thing going into the options of our airplane down here. We've got the KURO 787 version 3, as you can see. And we are flying this one with the beta version of Sim Update 14. Okay, cool. So, let's quickly go ahead and do a couple of settings here. We want the cross pointer on the primary flight display, not the V-bar. And that is that part, and then next page, SimBrief ID, we can enter mine. Even though it's such a short flight, we basically aren't going to be uploading much here, because the endpoint of the SID and the start point of the star are identical, as you can see down here in the flight plan, both via IMAPA. Okay, cool, so that's that part down here, so let's go ahead and start the IRS alignment process. This is going to take a little while here, so we want to get that going as quickly as possible. 6 minutes to run, it seems. Okay, cool. Then we can start with our FMS pre-flight procedure. So, position in it, we're going to take the GPS position. Route, yeah, we can request it, even though, as I mentioned earlier, it's just a single waypoint, so not much for us to deal with. Okay, so load that route, please. Here we go. Execute. As you can see, single waypoint down there. Okay, runway 10 departure, and this is going to be the IMAPA 1, don't let me lie to you, which one is the ANAF version of it? IMAPA 1 Romeo. Okay, so 1 Romeo, and then for the arrivals, we are going to go for an ANAF approach, runway 11, and we are again coming in via IMAPA, so for the arrival, it's going to be the IMAPA 1 Bravo arrival. Like this, and then the Marax transition. Alright, cool, and that's our entire route. Let's have a quick look on the plan page. And that's it already. If we zoom out a little bit, that's all there is to it. Alright, cool. So with that, our route is entered, then we can continue on the performance in it, and over here, before we do that, we can quickly go into the settings, weight and balance, and then we can set everything from the operational flight plan. So once again, the stuff coming directly from SimBrief. Alright, that's it. So 6 tons of fuel, that's quite a lot of cargo there, 6.2 tons. Not sure where that comes from. I'll just increase the fuel a tiny bit here, 6.1, so that we can run the APU a little bit before we run below the minimum fuel. Talking about the APU, this might just about be a good moment to actually start it up, because, well, you somewhat guessed it, it is rather warm here in the Caribbean. 26 degrees already at this time of the day. Okay, cool. Then let's go ahead to the performance page and let's have a look at the operational flight plan once more. So our reserves are going to be final reserve plus alternates, so that gives me roughly 3.2 tons of fuel for our reserves. Zero fuel weight we'll just take straight from the airplane. Cruise out 12,000 has been uplinked. Cost index is going to be 10 today. And step size, all that lovely stuff we don't really need. Cruise CG ain't gonna make a difference on this flight either. Alright, so with that we've got that stuff done, so let's quickly move over to the electronic flight bag. Flight's initialized, and then on performance, let's make it a dry runway, and let's just have a quick look at the latest weather we've got, which is now 100 at 11. So, 100, come on, here we go, 100 at 11, and the temperature 28, 1011. Alright, we're gonna keep everything on optimum at first. Let's just see what the plane's going to give us. Anti-ice off, improved climb, not simulated. Okay, calculate that. Alright, D-takeoff 259. That sounds about good with a flap 5 takeoff. Alright, cool. Then we're going to send that to the airplane. And we are going to accept. Trim we'll get from here. And that's it. Okay. So, quick look at the thrust limit page, and we are absolutely going to go for a derail climb 2. The airplane should, by the way, do that automatically. Whenever you enter a takeoff thrust setting over here, and the airplane detects that the climb setting, or the climb thrust, is greater than the takeoff thrust, it should automatically reduce to climb derate, so that when you reach the thrust reduction altitude, it is actually reducing thrust instead of increasing it. Alright, so that's that, and 146 can go straight into the V2. Here we go. Next page, well, let's make it acceleration altitude 1000, like so. And copy and paste that, and that's it. Takeoff speed's deleted, yeah, well, 30, 33, 46, yep, that's the same we've got in the EFB as well. So we can accept those. Alright, perfect. So with that, our FMC pre-flight is basically complete for our standard departure. What we can and should still do though is to cross-check the arrival as well, because it is such a short flight. So transition altitude 2500, we're going to put that in at first. And then for the descent, let's go on to the forecast over here and have a quick look at the arrival. Transition level is 40. Okay, may have that as well. Then we can request our winds, even though it's not going to make much of a difference on such a short flight as we have it right now. All of that stuff can go, thank you. And then route data, wind data load. Wow, a single waypoint, because that's the only one in cruise. The only one where the airplane determines to be at cruising level. Okay, so that stuff is all in. Then we can go ahead and cross-check our data. So on this departure, let's quickly see where the textual description is, provided there is one at all. No, there isn't. Okay. So we're going straight ahead towards Charlie Bravo 001, and then it's a right-hand turn, 223, 13.9 miles, and we can cross-check that over here towards Odlap, and then 284, 60.5 towards Imapa. And that is exactly what we've got in here, towards Imapa. For the arrival then, may cross-check that as well. IMAPA above flight level 30, we got 3000 above. 028, 11.2 towards Marax, again above 3000, and again, that is exactly what we've got in here. Okay, from there we join the on-off approach, starting at Tabeb 2500 or above towards Iluva. And that's 114, 5 miles, matches towards Iluva at 2000, 3 degree glide, and we've got a 3 degree glide in here, and down to the minimum of 580, but we cannot preset that just yet. Okay, cool. So with that, we've pretty much cross-checked the entire FMC and everything we could do in here. Obviously, could just go ahead and draw something for our MSA, but we're in the Caribbean, it's all flat terrain anyway. But for the sake of having something good looking on the nav display for the video, I'm just going to put a 25-mile ring in here, which basically marks our departure MSA as we can see it over here. 1,800 feet, probably a couple of palm trees on the islands, and maybe a couple of low-flying flamingos causing this. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much our FMS setup completed. Now we can go ahead and do the rest of the cockpit setup. So that's an IRS aligned, APU is running. Right, seatbelt gonna come on. Then anti-ice, auto, nav light on. Certainly the packs are gonna come on. By the way, talking about packs coming on, let's have a very quick look here at the air page. Yeah, it got a little warmer in here. But now with the packs on, that should certainly correct itself. Okay, leading us down. Over here, we set the QNH was 1011. There we go, 1011 is pre-selected. Traffic, terrain, flight rector, auto thrust, heading. Let's just try and put that to the runway heading. If you're unsure about what exactly the runway heading is, there's an easy trick you can use. Just go into the FMS. The first leg is usually always going to be the runway heading. So 104 looks about right, and now we can actually see the line here on the nav display as well. Alright, is there any initial climb published? Let's quickly see. No, looks like there is not. Okay, in that case it's going to be something by ATC. My experience so far is in the Caribbean they usually give you something like flight level 70 or so. Well, let's just go with that. Okay, cool, then. Auto brake RTO, standby instruments 1011 as well. Let's quickly go over what we've got in the ICAS. So it's fuel pressure, engine shutdown, TCAS, hydraulic fuel pumps, and that's it. Okay, perfect. Alright, cool. So that part is checked. Easy going, isn't it? Alright, going further down. Can go into the VHF. We're going to fly on 12280. Come on, airplane. We need to be able to do that. Here we go, 22.8. And 21.5 in NAV2. Alright, transponder, give me some nice IFR squawk, and we're going to go for TCAS. Well, or not, because it's not simulated, it seems. Okay, VHF, and you can stay on transponder, please. Alright, and that's pretty much our setup completed. So from here we can go ahead with our departure briefing, even though there is not going to be that much to say. So threats for the departure, well, bird strike is an option, so if that happens, we are so light we can make an immediate return, so nothing to worry about. In terms of the route check, we are going from Tango November Charlie Bravo, Tango November Charlie Charlie, Tango Fox Lima 391, and the routing is via IMAPA, giving us a ground distance of 111, and if we compare that with our flight plan, should be 112. So that is absolutely splendid. Okay, cool. Time UTC is now 17:21, altimeter 1011, reading about 30 feet, flight directors are on, and standby instruments set. It's going to be a lefty takeoff, runway 10, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2, and we have no specials. Emergencies as briefed on the first sector already, and in terms of the taxi, it's going to be a pushback with a nose to the left-hand side, and thereafter we are going to backtrack. Line up via Echo, backtrack runway 10, and we're going to use the turn pad at the end, since we cannot use that taxiway over here. Alright, our SID is on the chart 10-3, effective 20th of May, transition altitude 2,500, which we've got in the FMC as well. And RNAV 1 is required, GNSS required, we do have that, DME not authorized, not a problem. Okay, advise ATC if unable to climb at least flight level 110 at Itrix. Well, that's to the north, so ain't gonna be our problem. And that's really it up there. Speed max 250 below 100, unless otherwise instructed. We've got that down here. And for our routing then, straight at Charlie Bravo 001, right turn to Otlap, right turn to Emapa. Initial climb, let's just assume something like flight level 70, but in real life that would be given by air traffic control anyway. And that's it. Any questions on the departure briefing? No? Very good. Then we can do the pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, cool. With that, we are pretty much ready to go. So, let's order a pushback. Handling by, yeah, Menzies sounds about right. Okay, so, quick look. Systems. Doors. Still got... Yep, now they're closing it. Alright, so all the doors are closed, just waiting for them to be armed now. In the meantime, we can do our procedures as well. Okay, and that should be it. Okay then. Trim I just see 4.75. Let's go ahead and set that. Here we go. Alright, what's GSX doing? Working on it, it seems. Alright, well, they are well advised to do that. Cool, so before start checklist, passenger signs. On MCP, V2146, heading 104, altitude 7000. Takeoff speeds. 130, 133, 146, CDU pre-flight completed, taxi and takeoff briefing completed, before start checklist complete. Okay, cool. So with that, we are pretty much ready to go. Just waiting for the GSX guys to get ready. And they are connecting the tuck now, it seems. In case you're wondering why we are not hearing much of GSX, I kinda turned the sounds off because, well, I didn't really like them, so we are just going to do them ourselves and imitate what we would be talking with the ground crew. Alright, talking about it. Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment removed, and the bypass pin is installed. Yes, we can confirm all doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed, bypass pin is installed. Okay, thank you very much. We are clear to push facing with the nose to the left, park and brake set. Okay, release, park and brake, please. Park and brake released, clear to push. And let us know when we can start our engines. Roger. Alright, and here we go. So that's about as the communication would go with the ground. It's obviously standard phraseology, because, well, they do speak rather good English in the Caribbean, at least on the airports they do, compared to some other parts of the world where, well, I'm not gonna say it. So they do speak rather good English in the Caribbean on the airports. But, you know, there's still a good chance for some confusion everywhere, so for that reason, you know, just stick to the standard phraseology if you've got some available. Okay, looks like they're boarding the WestJet over there. Look at that, nice animation, isn't it? That's part of the scenery, by the way. That is a static airplane that they're boarding over there. Okay, cockpit ground. You can start the engines. Roger. Starting engines 1 and 2 simultaneously. So, starting engines. That's what I love about the 787. It's an electric starter, so the plane's got sufficient power that you can just start both engines at the same time. Okay, cockpit ground, pushback complete, set park and brake. Park and brake set, prepare the airplane for taxi and stand by for engine start. Roger. Let's just see whereabout he pushed us. In real life, they would have pushed us somewhere over here onto the road usually, and not do that turn, but I suppose it's just fine either way. Okay, ground, we got 2 good engine starts, clear disconnect, and show me the clear signal on the left side, please, with the pin, and have a good day. Alright, we're going to go for a board pushback so that our airplane isn't stuck. And here we go. Alright, cool. So, APU, flaps, recall, let's just take us off. Okay, get rid of the engine page and give me the flight controls, please. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto, recall, checked. Flight controls, checked. Ground equipment, clear. APU, off. Before taxi checklist complete. Okay, so we're clear left side, clear right side. Let's go for it. Brake released. Taxi, and we're clear to enter and backtrack runway 10. And with that, the strobe light can come on. So, 10 knots, no faster for the initial turns. And generally it won't make much sense to go much faster anyway, because the cabin is going to need their time to get prepared and get ready. And when the cabin isn't ready, there's no sense of taxiing fast anyway. Otherwise, you're just going to stand at the holding point. And remember, any faster you taxi, the more thrust you use, the higher the energy of the airplane, and you need to kill all of that again through your brakes. So for that reason, it doesn't make much sense to go very quick when the cabin is going to need time anyway. Okay, so I've got no changes to the takeoff briefing. Let's just do a review of the most important stuff there. Left seat takeoff, runway 11, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2. The anti-ice auto packs are on. And for the takeoff speeds, we are going to use 130, 133, 146. The sit is straight ahead with a right turn, climbing flight level 70, and in case of emergencies, we are going to climb straight ahead 3,000 feet. The MSA is 1,800 feet. An immediate return here is possible, as well as continuing to the destination is possible in any case as well, as it's just a 40-mile flight. Any questions? No? Okay, before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist complete. So as you can see, if you do the procedures correctly and completely, then it really doesn't make much of a difference if you just do the entire thing going quick. or if you just take your time and do things slowly. Okay, let's assume the cabin is ready by now. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Checklists are completed. Can take the weather radar on the left side, even though it's, well, an ensemble radar, so not on much use, and I have a feeling we won't need it anyway. But for the sake of it, let's just take it. Okay, are you ready? Look at that! Default viewpoint. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Takeoff. Thrust set. 80 knots. Checked. Little gusts there. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. So roughly 15 degrees pitch is what we should need. Thrust drive, L nav, V nav speed. Autopilot. In the real world, if I did a flight like that, I would probably do it completely manually. Just because you don't get that chance too often. But in the sim, let's just go for the autopilot. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Checklist incomplete norm. That's a known bug. We're going to cancel that. That should have extinguished the caution light as well, by the way. Flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. So we're going to proceed straight until we clear the island, and then we'll take a shortcut to the right. Let's just have a look at that from the outside. It's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, set standard. So cross-check passing flight level 43 now. Okay, and climb flight level 120, which is going to be our final cruising level. We now clear the island. Let's go direct to Otlab. Execute. Look at that. Doesn't make that much of a difference anymore, does it? For noise abatement reasons, they want us to stay clear of that part of the island over here. So, prior to conducting this flight, I had a look at a lot of different flights on Flight Radar 24 on this route. And all of them just flew this sector all the way up to Otlab before turning on to the direct course to Curaçao. So, that's just about the same that we are going to do. Alright, that's 3,000 to go, vertical speed. Oh, and it's a Boeing. We've got an after takeoff checklist. Well, that one was completed. Oh, come on. Here we go. Checklist override, and the after takeoff checklist is complete as well. So, let's see, we are looking for 292 knots. Obviously, I could just let it accelerate in VNAV, but that would just result in it going up and down and up and down, and that will just reduce passenger comfort. For that reason, I'm simply doing it in vertical speed. We've got more than sufficient power available, so I'm not too bothered about it. So, looking outside, we're just about passing the latest outskirts of Bonaire, so we are going to start the right-hand turn in a few moments, and look at that. We see the very same thing on our nav display as well. Alright, cool, then let's do the 10 checks. So, lights are going off. Seatbelts are going to remain on for such a short sector. Recall is checked. And we are monitoring... Well, it looks like we can't, but we're trying to monitor 1 to 1.5 as well. So be it, I can live with that. Alright, here we go, Alt. So, 40 miles to the top of descent. VNAV path. Can cancel out that timer. We've got the elapsed timer running all by itself down there. Okay, and then we can quickly go over the latest of our approach setup. So let's just get the Navigraph charts out once more. A little bit of lag in the sim, that's normal when opening the Navigraph charts. So we already checked the approach itself, but what we just about want to have a look at is, first of all, the latest weather. So QNH is 1011. Surprise, 40 miles, not too much of a change there. 12087, scattered 1626 degrees. Okay, looks about good to me. For the minimum we can take 580, and I'm just wondering if we should just go ahead and do a visual approach over there. To be fair, in the real world, in the Caribbean, I haven't done a single instrument approach yet. I have only done visuals over there. Pretty much exclusively. Which is a great thing, by the way. In a wide-body aircraft like the A330, doing a visual approach is a great lot of fun all the time. Okay, cool. So, I suppose that's actually what we're gonna do. So, tell you what, let's take a small shortcut here, direct to Marex. Like that, execute. And then we are going to create a little shortcut there. Marex / minus, give me minus 6 miles, please. Ah, a long track waypoint not available. Okay. So that's something that working title probably still has to add. Well, in that case, what we're gonna do is we'll just make Marex a 1,000 foot restriction. That's a little unorthodox. But, tell you what, that's a little unorthodox, but it's going to work. Alright, cool. So, with that done, let's already get our descent down to like flight level 50 initially, or actually make that flight level 40. And then a quick FMS setup. We're gonna make it a flap 25 approach, 134 knots. Auto brakes, we'll select, well, just something. And here we go. Well, that speed is a little bit too slow for my taste. Tell you what, we'll do a level change 250. Not sure why it's going that slow. Probably due to the 1,000 foot restriction. I wouldn't be surprised if that's confusing it a little, but that's just what happens. Okay, so looks good to me. Should be starting the descent any moment now. And here we go. Alright, cool. So for the approach briefing then, visual approach onto runway 10 at Curaçao. Is it 10 or 11? I believe it's 10. It's 11. Okay. So it's going to be a visual approach runway 11. That also means we can cancel out the minimums. Don't need that for a visual. And we've actually got the runway inside back there already. So easy going. Yeah, it's going to be a flap 25 landing, so pitch is going to be a little bit higher than usual. We leave the auto thrust engaged for the approach. Or tell you what, we'll actually take that out as well. Auto brakes 2 selected, and that is going to vacate us around about at Delta. Keep in mind, we've got quite a displaced threshold over there. That's like a kilometer or so into the runway. What do we have there? Runway 11. Landing me on threshold 2,578 meters. We are pretty light, so nonetheless I'll do auto brakes 3 just for sake of it. Okay, passing 10,000. Lights are coming on, seatbelts are on already, recall is checked. And that's it. Okay, in case of go around, it's going to be a visual pattern left hand side over the water. And that's it really. Any questions? Okay. So then we don't need that any longer. And we can run the descent checklist. Recall, checked, auto brakes 3, landing data, VREF for flaps 25 is 134, minimum's no minimum, since it's a visual, and we are inside already. And approach briefing completed, descent checklist complete. So, let's go down to pattern altitude. We'll make that 2,000 feet and set altimeter 1011. 1011 cross-check, passing 7,400. Now. Okay, we don't need a frisk check as it's a visual, so let's continue with the approach checklist. Altimeters, QNH 1011. Cross-checked. Approach checklist complete. Alright, cool. So that's about as easy as it gets. We'll make sure that we stay over the water until we are actually ready to turn final. We've got to find a gap in the clouds, so we'll just go through down there. And then let's have a look. Over there is our airfield. So we're inside of that as well. Okay, perfect. By the way, this is exactly what I do on a flight like this. Perfect weather, runway is inside. Go ahead and do a visual approach. You know, there is probably one situation in which you don't want to do, or there is just one justification for not doing a visual on a flight like that. And that simply is if you're tired. If you're tired, don't do it. Otherwise, there is not going to be any better way to practice your flying skills. And in my opinion, it is every commercial pilot's duty to practice their flying skills when the situation enables it. And honestly, there's so little traffic in the Caribbean. Well, there is traffic, don't get me wrong, but it's rather little. So if you don't do it now, then when would be a better opportunity? Okay, that's a runway down there. We'll keep flying straight for a little, but we might just about start a right-hand turn there. Tell you what, autopilot's coming off. Auto throttle's coming off. Flight director's coming off. That's interesting. Get me rid of that autopilot warning, please. Thank you. Check. Okay, I'll descend to 1,500 just to get a little bit clearer of those clouds. Like now. Right, we'll get clear of the city. Just put something in the FMS down there so that we have guidance in case I missed approach. Okay, 1500, leveling off. Losing speed. There's a field down there. Flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. And already armed that speed brake here. Flaps 5. Speed check, flaps 5. Alright, let's start our base turn. Gear down. Flaps 15. Flaps 20 and flaps 25. So that's our runway. Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. Checked. So now it would be nice if we could move around a little bit easier to look out the window, but I suppose there's our runway. That's just about fine. Checked. So by 300 feet we need to be stabilized. And here we go. Straight onto the marker. Right. So, speed brake, reverse, 70 knots, manual brakes. And here we go. Welcome to KURO. Deviated a little bit from the center line. That checklist incomplete normal here, that really caught me out there. We got it back onto it, but, you know, that's the reason why cautions on takeoff and landing are a bit of a problem. And that's actually the reason why Airbus, for example, has the takeoff and landing inhibit functions. Okay, cool, so here we are. Turn to the right and taxi to the gates, and in the meantime let's quickly do this. So flaps going up, speed brakes going in, auto brake is off, flight director's off, lights going off, and APU going on. Cool, there is no after landing checklist on this one, so we'll just continue with the shutdown checklist once we reach the gate. No safe taxi over here, it seems. We can live with that. Ah, here it is. Wow, that's a cool feature. Did you see that? When the weather radar was on, it didn't show us any safe taxi. So that's quite a cool feature to remind the pilots to turn the weather radar off. That's a good safety feature. I really like that. Okay, lights going off, as the next gate is ours. Might have been a little too slow there. But here we go. Nothing that a little bit of thrust cannot solve. Okay, lights and weather radar are off. That's what I always check when I'm turning onto a gate. It looks like we've got no marshaller over here, so we've just got to park ourselves. But that's fine, we can do that. Right, something like this, I do suppose. Here we go. Park and brake set, APU showing running, so engines shut down. Cabin crew, all doors in park. And engines below 20, beacon going off. Shutdown checklist. Park and brake, set. Shutdown checklist complete. Alright guys, and that's it already. That's about the shortest flight with the 787 that I could find. And in case you're about to say it, yes, I am aware that Ethiopian Airlines claims to have a shorter one from Brazzaville to Kinshasa, but I couldn't find any evidence of that flight actually happening. So they do talk about it, but there were basically no evidence of it actually flying out on flight radar by the time that I'm recording this on the 28th of November 23. And that's it guys, thank you very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this little trip, the shortest flight of the 787, the shortest scheduled flight of the 787 I should say, that I could find any evidence of it happening. So thank you very much for watching, I do hope you liked it. If you did, do let me know in the comments below, and I'm looking forward to read what you think about this one. Also let me know what you think about doing visual approaches down here and my take on them. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like in YouTube as it does help with the algorithms. Comment to let me know what you think, and finally don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more flights with the 787 and other aircraft. I see you all again on the next one. In the meantime, if you really liked the video, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. But for now, enjoy your flights, and I see you all again on the next one.